now leaving the plains, but it's not to enter any mountains. In fact, I'm dropping down into the Missouri River Valley, which just happened to cut through a patch of badlands. These badlands are known as the Missouri Breaks, or just the Breaks, by the locals. A long time ago in episode 10 of my first season, I visited the Badlands of South Dakota. The breaks here are similar in that they're very hard to navigate, like most Badlands. I'm going to find some gasoline in Big Sandy, Montana. It's a small farming community north of the route that will bring me to my next campsite at the Judith Landing Campground deep in the Upper Missouri River Breaks National Monument. More on that in a minute. It's in here that I'll be dispersed camping for the night before crossing the rest of Montana tomorrow. My quest for gasoline is actually quite important, and it may have helped me a lot in the long run. Because Montana is so large and my tank is so small, it's important to me to fill up even if I find myself half empty. The distances between communities out here are crazy. It's important to take extra measures to fill your tank, because you may end up stranded. Hitchhiking would make for a great story, but logistically I'd be screwing myself. I'm normally picky when it comes to gas, especially out here. A motorcycle runs more efficiently, and in turn goes a lot farther if I have higher quality fuel. These views will be challenged by many though. Gains are very marginal, and it's hard to replicate a trip to test what's best. Typically, too low of an octane creates higher emissions and lower fuel economy. A high octane rating could be a waste. It's always recommended that you still get the best fuel economy if you follow your vehicle's manual's minimum. The first gas station I come across in Sandy has an octane rating of 85. Not E85, just 85, which is 2 points lower than a regular fuel at 87. An 85 rating can cause knocking in some engines, so I keep up the search. Luckily, I checked the rating, and you'll find out why later. I'm dropping down into the Upper Missouri River Breaks National Monument. It's really got quite a name, and no acronym really suits it, so many around here just call them the Breaks. The National Monument is managed by the Bureau of Land Management, putting me back in BLM land, just like the kind I got lost in near Garnet. 3 days before George W. Bush was sworn in January of 2001, President Bill Clinton created this monument that encompasses almost 500,000 acres. He did it so close to moving day at the White House, he must have had little time to create a shorter name. Wildlife here is abundant, with 49 species of fish, including the 100 or more pound paddlefish, a real living dinosaur. The species go all the way back, unchanged, to the Cretaceous Period when the Great Plains of the U.S. were under an ocean. The layers of sand that spread out across the bottom of that ocean are seen here amongst the canyon walls of the breaks, forever eroding under the wind, rain, and snow. Species of mammals are found here, such as the pronghorn antelope, red fox, mountain lions, and coyotes, to name a few megafauna. If you remember from episode 47, my second episode on the Nez Perce War, Chief Joseph led his people through the breaks on their escape route north to Canada. When they found out they couldn't get any help from the Crow Reservation, they made a dash for the Canadian border to meet up with Sitting Bull, who was living in exile. The breaks were quite the geographic challenge for the Nez Perce, but they were able to cross. A firefight that erupted here would end up being the last one they had before their final stand at the Battle of Bear Paw. It's right in the beginning of July, and the sun is beating down. The roads have turned to dirt, but it's too late to turn back now. There are only 1 or 2 bridges total across the breaks, one of which is at the Judith Landing Campground where I'll be spending the night. As you may have guessed, the breaks are the perfect place for recreation. Outdoor enthusiasts of all kinds can partake in canoeing, kayaking, boating, fishing, hiking, camping, horseback riding, and many other activities here. I'm unfortunately not here for all that. I forgot to string up my kayak back in Minneapolis. I'll be here for the night, taking in the sights and sounds of the breaks. In addition to that, this is also quite the historical location. It was the center of trade, a summit where treaties were signed, and in one instance, a couple of well-known American heroes had a brush with death during a spring night in 1805.